In this video, we're learning all about the volume of cylinders. If you've got printed notes, this is handout 1 in your volume packet. By the end of this video, you're going to learn how to find the volume of cylinders as well as any missing dimensions like height or radius. Let's begin. So they start off with just kind of a warm-up question to think about. We've got a cylindrical stack of coins shown below on the left, and the dimensions of an individual coin are shown as well. So it's 4 by 1 centimeters. If you needed to find the amount of space taken up by the stack of coins, how can you use the dimensions of an individual coin to help? Well, you can use these dimensions to find the volume of a single coin, and then you would just multiply it by the number of coins in the stack. Let's review. What is volume? Volume is the amount of three-dimensional space occupied by an object. Volume can also be referred to as capacity. Now, if we're going too quickly, make sure you pause the video and write this down if you have the printed notes. You can also pause the video to work ahead on problems and just watch the video and use it to check your answers. So let's talk about the volume of cylinders specifically. To find the volume of a cylinder, multiply the area of the base by the height of the cylinder. The volume can be written as V equals big B times H. Describe each variable. The V, as I said before, is the volume of the cylinder. The big B is the area of the base. Now, why do I call it big B? It's because oftentimes you may be thinking about the formula for area of a rectangle, which is base times height. And whenever you see it written, you see a little or lowercase b written. And that's because the unit is one-dimensional. Now, in the case of something like a cone that's three-dimensional, when they talk about the big B, they're referring to the area of the bottom, the area of the base, the whole thing, which is measured in square units. So they normally denote this with a capital B, which I call big B. So big B is the area of the base times H, which is the height or the distance between the bases. So the base of a cylinder will always be a circle. So to find the area of the base, use the formula pi r squared. So we're going to combine our area of a circle formula with our volume formula. You'll see it in the next slide. So find the volume of each cylinder, use 3.14 for pi. So we've got a cylinder right here. They tell us the formula, which is volume equals big B times H. Now we know that big B refers to the area of the base, and the area of the base is a circle, and to find the area of a circle, it's pi r squared. So we're going to rewrite our formula. Volume equals big B, which is pi r squared, times H, which is our height. So let's plug in our values. We don't know the volume, so we're leaving it as V. We do know pi, it's 3.14. They told us to use that. We also know the radius, which is 6 inches, so we're replacing r with 6, and we're squaring it. And h is the height, which is 4 inches, so we're replacing h with 4. And then we multiply it out. 3.14 times 6 again, times 4 equals 452.16 inches cubed. Let's try the next one. It's a cylinder, so we're going to use the same formula. Volume equals big base, which is pi r squared, area of a circle, times height. Now, in order to use this formula or plug in our values, we need to have pi, which we do. We have 3.14. We need the radius, which we don't have, and we need the height, which we do have. It's 10. So they give us the distance from one end of the circle to the other, which is called the diameter. But the radius is only half the distance. So if the whole thing is 8, we know the radius should be 4, because 4 is half of 8. So let's go ahead and plug in our values. We don't know V. We do know pi, which we're going to use 3.14. We do know our radius now, which is going to be 4. We're going to square that. And we know our height, which is 10. So we're replacing h with 10. We're going to multiply that out. 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 10, which is 502.4 centimeters cubed. Let's try another one. You may want to pause the video to try it yourself. So Our formula is, again, because it's a sphere, a cylinder, V equals pi r squared times height. We want to plug in our values. We don't know the radius right now, but we do know the diameter, and the radius is half of the diameter, so the radius is going to be 5. So now we know all the values we need. Volume, which is missing still, equals 3.14, radius is 5, and height is 2.5. Once we multiply that all out, we should get 196.25 feet cubed. All right, in these questions, we're going to do something a little bit different. They want us to leave the answer in terms of pi. What that means is that we're going to multiply everything except for pi and simply leave pi, the pi symbol, in our solution. And then afterward, we're going to multiply that solution with pi. So we'll give you a quick example. In this example, we're rewriting our formula. Volume equals pi r squared. We don't know volume, but we do know that pi is pi. We know radius is 10, so we're replacing r with 10, and we know height is 15.2, so replace h with 15.2. If you multiply 10 out, it's going to be 100 times 15.2. And when they want us to leave our answer in terms of pi, they don't want us to write 3.14 here. So notice I just kept this pi symbol, but they still want us to multiply everything else out. So we're going to multiply 100 and 15.2, and that gets us 1,520. And then we kind of just leave the pi there, almost like it's a variable. So our volume is 1520 pi millimeters cubed. Now, right below that, they want us, it says nearest tenth. And what they want us to do with that is they want us to multiply 1520 with pi. So once we do that, we get 4,772.8. So that's going to be our answer for nearest tenth. Let's try number 5. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to try it yourself. But before you do that, just want to give you a clue. They are giving you the diameter, which is 16, instead of the radius. But let's go through it quickly. V equals pi r squared. That's our formula. Pi, radius is 8, not 16, times 7. If I multiply 8 out, it's 64 times 7. 64 times 7 is 448 pi, which is our first answer. In our second answer, they want us to multiply 448 with 3.14, and that's 1,406.72. And if we round it to the nearest tenth, it's going to be 1,406.7. Let's try another one. And let's rewrite our formula. V equals pi r squared times height. We know the radius, they give it to us right there, it's 1.5. We know the height, it's 4. 1.5 times 1.5 is 2.25. We're going to multiply that by 4, and we get roughly 9 pi. So we're going to write it right there. If we multiply 9 with pi, we get 28.3, which is our nearest tenth answer. So let's start some word problems. The area of the base of a cylinder is 150 square inches. If the volume of the cylinder is 1,050 inches cubed, what is the height of the cylinder? Let's go back to our original formula, which is V equals big B times H, because they do give us the area of the base, which is big B. So volume of the cylinder is 1,050. So we're replacing V with 1050. Big B is 150. Height is what's missing, so we're leaving it as H. So our equation is basically 1050 equals 150H. How do we find H? Well, 150 is being multiplied with H. The inverse operation of multiplying by 150 is dividing by 150, which is what we're going to do to both sides. And H ends up equaling 7. So 7 inches is the height of our cylinder. Let's try this one. The volume of a cylinder is 942 cubic feet. If the height of the cylinder is 12 feet, what is the radius of the cylinder? Now they're asking us, or they're giving us the radius, so we're going to go back to our the other formula we use, which is volume equals pi r squared h. So the volume of the cylinder is 942 cubic feet. That means V is 942. if the height of the cylinder, well, we know pi, which is 3.14. If the height of the cylinder is 12 feet, what is the radius? We don't know radius, so we're going to leave it as r square. We do know the height because they tell us it's 12 feet. So we're going to multiply the numbers we do know on this side to simplify. So 3.14 times 12, which is 37.68, and we have the r squared left over. How do we get r squared by itself? Well, we divide both sides by 37.68, and we end up with roughly 25 r squared. And how do you get rid of the square on the r? Well, we use a radical or a square root. So we square root both sides, and we find out that the radius is roughly 5. So 5 feet is our answer. Leanne has a cylindrical water tank in her backyard that has a diameter of 3 meters and a height of 2 meters. What is the capacity of the water tank? So she's got a cylinder in her backyard. We're going to use our equation V equals pi r squared h. We know that it has a diameter of 3 and a height of 2. So if the diameter is 3, there's no d in our formula. We need to find the radius, which is half of that, which is 1.5. What is the capacity of the water tank? So remember, capacity and volume mean the same thing. So we're missing the volume. We know what pi is, it's 3.14. We know what radius is, it's 1.5. And we know what the height is because it says 2 meters. So we're going to multiply all those numbers out, and we get 14.13 meters cubed. All right, last problem. We've got a complicated one. Drew and Bo both have cylindrical water bottles. Drew's water bottle has a diameter of 6 inches and a height of 7 inches. Bo's water bottle has a diameter of 4 inches and a height of 9 inches. Whose water bottle holds more water, and how much more water does it hold? So we need our volume of a cylinder formula. Drew's water bottle has a diameter of 6 inches and a height of 7 inches. So let's fill it out. Volume equals pi times radius squared. Remember, if the diameter is 6, then our radius is going to be 3. And a height of 7 inches means a height of 7 inches. H is going to be 7. We're going to multiply that out, and we get roughly 197.82. Bo's water bottle has a diameter of 4 inches and a height of 9 inches. So we don't know the volume. We know pi. We know the radius because it's half of the diameter. So half of 4 is 2. And we know the height, which is 9 inches. So we're going to work that out, multiply it all out, and we end up getting 113.04. So let's answer the question, whose water bottle holds more water? Drew's holds 197.82 and Bo's holds 113.04. So Drew has a water bottle with a larger volume or capacity. Let's look at the other question. And how much more water does it hold? How much more? Well, we need to compare these two volumes, and we do that by subtracting. So subtract 197.82 minus 113.04. We end up getting 84.78 inches cubed more. So that's how much more Bo's water bottle holds.